Hey and welcome back, and in this lesson I'm going to show you how to record your first synth melody or synth riff as they call it. So make sure that you open up the project that we saved in the previous lesson. So you should have your drum loop 1, your bassline 1 and your bassline 2. So I just renamed the new bassline that we created in the last lesson, the one that we're using the monotone bass synthesizer. I renamed that to bassline number 2, and then what I did, I muted the bassline 1. So I prefer the bassline 2 over the bassline 1, so just make sure that you're using that one. And if we're looking at the key of our bassline 2, you will see, if I zoom in here, that is running on the C key. So it's usually good to try and match your melody to your bassline. So let's do that. I'm going to go out of edit mode here, and then we need to find our instrument. So I'm going to open up the browser, and then I'm going to go to instruments, and the one that I want to add for our main melody or our main synth riff is the Europa shape-shifting synthesizer. So you can just click and drag that into your rack, and then I'm going to add or load a patch into this synthesizer, and the one that we're going to use is Key of Life. Now you can go ahead and you can use any one you prefer, but for this lesson I'm going to use this Key of Life. So you just drag this into this synthesizer, and then we are ready to record. Well, before we record, I'm just going to close the browser or minimize the browser, and then I also want to duplicate everything here on the sequence, because I actually want to record a melody that's going to be 8 bars long, and the duration that we currently have is only 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply just drag a box around everything here that we want to duplicate, and I'm going to hold in Alt on my keyboard, and I'm going to click and drag to duplicate those 4 bars. And now you can see we've got 8 bars, and then just drag this right indicator to the right hand side of this so it will loop nicely. So let's save that. And then another thing that I want to do is I want to enable the click track here at the bottom. So make sure that your click track is on, as well as your pre-count. That will just give you a little countdown so you know exactly when to start. And you can record the melody either using an external keyboard like a MIDI keyboard, or you can use this on-screen piano keys to record it. I'm just going to use this on-screen piano keys for now, or you can just simply draw in the notes. All right. Another thing that I want to do is I just want to solo this instrument. I don't want to hear the drum loop or the other bass or the bass line or anything like that. Just the one instrument. So I'm going to solo this Key of Life. I'm just going to click on the S to solo that. And make sure you're at the beginning. This song position should be right at the beginning. And I think we are ready to record. Let me just see if my key is right. Yeah, so I'm going to use those two to start off with, and let's see how it goes. So I'm going to click record, and then I'm going to record. Okay, so you can hear my timing is not perfect at all, but don't worry too much about that. We're going to fix that in a future lesson by something called quantizing. So don't worry too much about that. And if I double click on this, you can actually see the notes here. I'm just going to try and zoom out here so I can fit them all into one screen. So I'm going to select them all, and then I'm going to close this on-screen piano, and then press Z on the keyboard to zoom that in. So if you want to copy this kind of roughly, you can do so. It's not very nice. You can also see the length of these notes are all over the place, but we're going to fix that with quantizing as well. So I'm going to unsolo that so it plays with our bassline 2 and drum loop. So let's have a quick listen and see if we're on the right track. And I just want to take this click track off. So just disable click track, and let's have a listen. So here you can see I changed the melody. So the top section of the melody, that part, is exactly the same as this previous section. but I changed the bottom key. I went from C to, what is this, G. So I went from there to there. So we need to change our bass line to match as well, because it's going to sound a little bit funny if the bass line stays on a different key. So I'm just going to put my song position right there, and I'm going to go out of edit mode. And sorry, let's just double check that key again. That's the one. Go out of edit mode. And I want to change this bass line to match that key. So this little section here, right after the song position, I want to edit this one. Okay, so I'm going to double click on that. And you can see there we've got those notes. I'm going to press Z on the keyboard to zoom in. And then I'm just going to move them up to that key. Just like that. So I'm going to select all of them like that. Okay, go out of edit mode. And now you can see that we updated this one. You can actually see those notes are slightly higher than these ones. So I'm going to delete this one and this one. And then I'm going to duplicate this one. So holding Alt on my keyboard, drag, holding Alt, drag, just like that. And then we need to update those two keys as well. So I'm going to double click there, select these two, bring them up to there. And these ones should be fine. Let's have a listen. So I'm just going to save. Cool. So you can now hear that this part of the melody or this part of the melody is actually matched by the bass line, and this part is matched by the bass line there. So that is all good. Now you can actually go and experiment with some of these other patches on the synthesizer. Very simple to do. I'm going to loop this playback. I'm just going to press space, and while it's playing, I'm going to drag in some of these patches, and let's have a listen to some of the other sounds. So you can hear there's some interesting patches here, very cool. You can go with anything you want to, but I'm going to stick with Key of Life. So I'm just going to drag that in, and this is this sound. And then I'm going to save, and that is that for this lesson. What I will do finally, I'm going to open up this melody and just zoom out here by pressing Z. And if you want to copy this riff as it is, you can do so now, and I will see you in the next lesson.